This was going to be included on the BTC haul video and everything, but I think it's cool enough that it deserves its own video. So we're going to kind of jump in and, just kind of take off in the middle. But I hope it all makes sense and everything, and I hope you enjoy what you're watching. Here you go. I also got a shirt from this guy got us. He got us. Won't lie. Came over, was asking about shirts, says, what size do you wear? And I was like, oh, I wear a 2X. And Jordan, hey, I wear this size, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, okay. And then he just walked off. I was like, well, that was kind of weird. Well, then he brings back shirts for both of us. So, Tiny Truck Therapy. This is his shirt. He gave this to me, was just like, here, no big deal, whatever. I never really thought anything of it, I just thought it was this guy being nice, right? And I had talked to him before, maybe at Rocktober last year, maybe at Beat the Creek last year, I don't know. I have talked to him before. So he's on my page, and all of a sudden at 7 o'clock on Sunday, I get this really weird notification. It says, enjoy your Clawbuster. And I'm like, I don't even have, what? I don't know what you're talking about. So I get to my canopy, and we pull the canopy up, and sitting on the table is this. This dude gave me a freaking Clawbuster crawler. Now, I know some of you have no idea exactly what I'm getting ready to tell you, so listen up and I will give you a little bit of a history lesson, okay? So first up is the DX6E. This lets you control both servos independently and both motors independently, so you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. It did have a receiver in it, and then this also has 2 ESCs. So that allows you to just do everything independently instead of running off one ESC with 2 motors. I'm pretty sure these are Integi motors, and these are Rooster Crawler ESCs. It does have a Dean's plug. I haven't gotten a chance to really mess with it yet because I don't have any Dean's batteries or any Dean's adapters. But I didn't really even look this thing over, but what I can tell you is this is either a actual pimp cane or this is a homemade version of a pimp cane. What a pimp cane was, way back in the day, you have to think the original first crawlers were basically Clodbusters, TXTs, and Juggernauts and things like that. The Mad Force, I believe, was one of them, the Kyoshos. They were all supers. They all had enormous freaking monster truck tires that, as of today's standards, those things are freaking terrible, but back in the day, they were really all we had, and we thought they were great. He told me it needs an axle of some sort. I'm not really sure. Maybe he meant that it needed the adapters for the wheels. I'm not sure. I don't really, I'm not upset at all. So how this thing works is instead of having a chassis, you have a mount here, and then a mount in the back here, and then this has a mount, and then it mounts here. The flex comes from the flex in the actual chassis. There are no links. There are no shocks. This is what it is. It has aluminum cases on it. It has aluminum tubes. It has these aluminum push guard things, whatever. I'm not really sure what you would call those. And it has some really nice servos on it for the day, I guess. And it's just super freaking cool. The hubs are aluminum. The freaking knuckles are aluminum. Everything. This thing is so nice. I don't know what to say. I didn't ask for this. This dude just gave this to me knowing that I've done this for a while, and I really friggin' appreciate it. This thing is so freaking cool. I never had a Clawbuster pimp cane, but I did have a pimp cane that was a TLT, and it was a 2.2, 4.5, 5-inch tires, whatever. And it worked really well for the time and for what it was. So what I also got was these enormous mudslingers, and I got some Moab XLs. One of them doesn't have a wheel, but the other 3 do. So this used to be the crawler tire for everything, really, was Moabs. These are not sticky. They're not soft by today's standards by any means. But it's what you have to have if you want to have one of these. This was one of the killers back in the day. This and the stick. If you haven't seen the stick, I have one of those as well. Basically the same thing, except for this rod rotates, and then there's also a shock on one side and a shock on the other. both of them were super awesome. This is the epitome of what you really wanted back in 2005, probably. This thing was like the crawler to have. I don't know that I got his name, and I don't believe I did, but I want to publicly just tell you thank you so much for this. Like, this is one of the coolest gifts I think I've ever gotten, ever. I know this doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but to someone like me that knows what he's looking at and knows this is where everything started and like what this is as far as like the history of what we're doing, this is super freaking cool. And it's gonna go, I'm gonna put it back together, and it will go up on my vintage shelf up here with all my other older crawlers and everything. He did include a body, but as I was getting everything together, a kid walked by and said, "Oh, that's cool." And so I walked over and gave it to him because I didn't need it. I have 1,000 million bodies I can put on this thing. So I got that, and I'm freaking stoked. With all that being said, I want to make sure it is very clear that I thoroughly appreciate my new truck, and the thought that someone would actually give it to me is just still crazy. I'm going to take care of it. I will be a good truck steward of that thing, and it will sit up with my other vintage stuff and basically be shown off. I'll try to get it running, and maybe we'll do something with it on the channel. Maybe I can take it and the stick out and do, I don't know, old school Clawbuster things or something. So that's about it. Think about becoming a channel member. Check me out on Facebook groups, and Instagram, Bullman Built RC across the board. There really are no bloopers because this was so short that it didn't really make any. But I want to know that when I say I appreciate you watching, I legitimately do appreciate all of you for checking me out. And even if you hate watching and you don't like me, then thank you anyway because it's of you. So I will see you later. Bye!